I took a plane over the stars. It didn't get me very far. All of my problems, they follow me. And I flew to the moon. Wasn't far enough away from you, 'cause all of my problems, they follow me. I said every night when I close my eyes, all my troubles fade. And every morning when I rise, I've been sleeping in this bed I've made.
And we will take a deep breath in and out and release everything that we carried in the door. Release anything that's weighing on our heart. Release anything in our mind that doesn't allow us to be the love that we already are. To leave it all behind, to rest our weary minds and hearts. Come into this one exquisite moment in time. To be still, to be filled with love from the inside. To be grateful, to be alive now. In the midst of it all, to be alive now. What a gift it is. Let our light shine, let our joy be known as we let it all be. And so it is. Amen.
Sit and worry about the future. Worrying about the future don't change the past. Used to think tomorrow would be better. Now I realize doing the best I can. I'm just a man trying to find the reason why I am. It took some time to realize I am what I am. And I want to be rich, want to be happy, and live inside a love that shines bright enough to last a lifetime. Be rich, more than fantasy, ride the wings and climb. I said it's all your state of mind. It's all your state of mind.
Right, thank you.
See.
How wonderful is that? Well, you know, there's been a lot of talk, and there's always a lot of talk about all the rights that we have, right? There's human rights, there's civil rights, there's rights given to us by the Constitution and the amendments in the Constitution. There's even the Declaration of Independence that says, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal and endowed by their Creator with unalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, right? All these rights that we fight for, that we want to have. And there's precious little talk, in my humble opinion, about responsibilities. Responsibilities. Because you know, with every right comes a responsibility, right? I mean, that's fundamental. That's fundamental to rights. Even the right to drive a car in the United States of America. I mean, you have to have a license, you have to have insurance, you have to honor the speed limit and the stop signs. I mean, what if a bunch of us just decided, hey, we're going to go on red and stop on green? You know, it just wouldn't work. I mean, it wouldn't work. It'd be a big mess, right? We have rights and we have responsibilities to those rights. We don't just get the rights willy-nilly. That's not the way it is. So when I talk today, I want to talk about a category of rights called God-given rights. I'm like, well, what is that? Like, what is a God-given right? Have you ever even thought about it? Like, what is the God-given right? I mean, I know people have opinions about it, but I was thinking, well, what is that for me? What does that mean to have a God-given right? And even though the God-given rights that I'm going to talk about today are given to us, we have responsibilities about them too. They're just not given without any context about it, all right? So you've been here the last few weeks, you know this book has been pretty much kicking my butt, called Love Without End, Jesus Speaks by Glenda Green. And if you haven't been here, this book was written in the late 90s, or published in the late 90s, and it is this woman, Glenda Green's, conversation with Jesus. Like, Jesus shows up in her paint studio and she writes down all the stuff he's telling her. And you can say, well, I don't know if I believe that. Well, you don't have to believe it. It doesn't really matter if you believe it, but I think there's a lot of stuff in here that really calls us to pay attention. So this is where I'm going to start with, he says there are two foundational rights that we as spiritual beings have. And the first right is the right to a free will. Now, what is that? Well, let me read to you. I couldn't say it any better. You know, I struggled with this message because I was like, how do I take this and make it better? Well, I couldn't do it. So after I sat with it for a while, I said, well, let me just use what's in here, because what in the world? He says this, two fundamental things. Free will is the first one. Free will is the foundational right given by God, Holy Father, Spirit, whatever your name is for that, to all of his children. It is the, listen to this, it is the right to be who you really are and to make choices in life which give evidence to that truth. Free will is the right to be who you are and to make choices that lead you in that direction. Free will is not a sanction for destructive, deviant, and irrational behavior, which might be stimulated independently of a person's character or life needs. Free will is not a senseless free-for-all. Free will is essentially this: the right to be yourself, to know yourself, and to select the elements and companions of your life according to how appropriately they extend to serve the nature of yourself. That's what free will is. And at the end of a month that we celebrate Pride, what more of an invitation can this be? Yeah? Is an invitation to realize that free will is my right to be who I was born to be. Isn't this a timely message, given that there was folks who showed up at the Pine Valley Library this week, right here in Wilmington, North Carolina, who were trying to tramp on the beingness of somebody else, in my opinion. And isn't this the message that maybe you need to hear about your own self? The free will that you have to be who you are here to be. That's what free will is. That's what free will is. Within each individual is a sacred center, wherein his covenant with the Father is purposely sustained. In other words, who you are and how you are and your existence is sustained by whatever your name is for Creator. Every individual is an immortal soul with a meaningful place in the whole of existence. That's what free will is about. Are you getting it? Isn't that amazing? Have you ever thought of free will like that? Like, I am free to be who I am, unapologetically, according to the sacred center of my being. Not because I want to lord power over someone, but because of the calling that was planted in me as a soul when I got here. That's where it comes from. That's where it comes from. I had to make this hard by going 1 over here, 2 over here, 3 over here, arrows. Let me see, I'm looking for number 3. You are a child of God and not a child of circumstance. You are a child of God and not a child of circumstance. The very fact of having free will is what liberates you from the imprisonment of circumstance. You are not a child. The circumstance is irrelevant to what and who you are. It's irrelevant. It makes no difference. The power in this free will and this definition of free will is that we have a choice, which is our responsibility to our right of free will. We have a choice to make, to line up with what's in here, with my actions and my thinking and my choosing that comes out here. That's our responsibility to the character that we are, to the soul of us. I mean, that's amazing to me. I hope y'all are understanding this. I did get confirmation that this was the right message, by the way, because I have this teacup that has all my herbal teas in it in the morning. And after I have my green tea, I select one of these herbal teas. And today I selected an herbal tea. And how I know this is the right message, even though I have a lot of confused looking faces, this is what the message said on the tea bag. Appreciate yourself and honor your soul. I'm like, okay, I get it, God. I'm gonna go with this. I'm going with this message because that's really what we're talking about here. You know, how do I honor my soul? Through the choices you make, you give support to your life, your love, and your truth. In and of itself, a context or environment may or may not honor or sustain the essence of who you are. In other words, the condition may or may not be who you are. But here's the power that we have and the responsibility that we have. You may initiate changes to make a situation out here compatible with your love, and you can choose not to support those situations which deny your love. That's the power that you have. That's the power that I have. Even if none of the choices available to you is ideal. Do I need to say that again? Even if the choices before you do not appear ideal, the very act of making choices will give you an assertive power over external conditions and a way of moving through them. I'm like, you mean to tell me if I make a decision that comes from understanding who and why I'm here, with that deep knowing from the sacred heart of my being, that even though the choice isn't ideal and doesn't get me exactly what I think it should, that I can change that external condition by making that choice? Holy moly! Maybe that's really what happened when Jesus multiplied the fish. He just was like, this is a no-brainer. Maybe that's really what happened. Some people, I don't know if I believe in miracles. That's okay. I don't know if it happened or didn't happen, but what if it did happen that way? What if he just used this? And he changed an external condition. And we have that same power when we line up with the sacred nature of ourselves, our soul. When we appreciate, see, I even bought the used tea bag. We appreciate yourself and honor your soul. That's how it works. That's how it works. I'm not going to reuse the bag, but... That's powerful. It is your right to be unapologetically you. And it's also your responsibility to make choices that support that, whatever that is. No matter what the outside world says. No matter what the outside world says. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how old you are, how, Renee always says to me, well, you're just unique, honey. So thank you. That's a very nice way of saying it. and I love her for it. What were we talking about on the way over here? I was thinking about something. I said, that's the way my mind works. She says, yes, you're unique. This is the stuff I wonder about. This is the stuff I wonder about. But it's the responsibility that we have to make those choices. Are you getting that? It's powerful. I'm still like buzzed up from it. Like that I could actually change. And I've had evidence of this. Just this week, I was thinking, last week I was talking to Amy and Casey, and we were talking about the possibility of having nursery and youth ed when we move into the new building, and I'm thinking, well, how the heck am I going to do that? And then I'm making this lesson, and I'm like, I don't have to figure it out. All I have to do is line up my heart, and the rest will be taken care of. My responsibility is to that, right? It's not to figure it out. My responsibility is simply to make decisions and open my heart to that. And don't you know, in a conversation with somebody else this week, I was led to ask. I thought appeared in my mind to ask, well, do you think this person would be interested? The answer was yes. It happens. It happens. It happens. So the right is the right to free will, as I've just defined it, as Jesus defines it. The responsibility is to make choices in honoring that free will from the Sacred Heart. The second one is equality. And this is going to blow your mind too, because you're thinking, okay, equality is our God-given right? Well, yes, it is. It's a fundamental right. You know what it is? It is the right to experience your worth regardless of your condition that you find yourself in. It is the right to experience your worthiness regardless of what condition you find yourself in. Isn't that pretty wild? Like, that's what equality is. Let me see what number I'm at. Number 5. Where is number 5? Here it is. All the children of God are equal in relationship to their Father, to God. There are none who have a preferred relationship to the Father or special advantages to fulfilling it. None are above experiencing hardships of mortal existence, and none are beneath the God's eternal love and capacity for forgiveness. Every person was created in the loving image of the Father, and a loving core essence remains unsullied by even the most desperate circumstance. We are equal in relationship to Creator. There is no one who's better. In that same conversation I had with these ladies, I said, if you ever hear a teacher, especially a spiritual teacher, acting as if and pretending as if they're above you, run. Run the other way. There is nobody above each other. No, it's not the way it works. That's what Jesus is saying here. We are all equal in relation to our Creator. There is no one who is less than. There is no one who is more than. That's the equality. That's the God-given right of equality. But you might say, as he goes on, because Glenda has the same thing, it's like, what about all the inequalities around? Like, there is a world full of inequalities when we're looking out here, isn't there? He says there are also inequalities. Not everyone has made equal progress toward the fulfillment of his potential or her potential. I'll raise my hand to that one. Not everyone has been born into equal circumstances, right? With equal health, wealth, or intelligence. All of these considerations and more are a part of each individual's life situation. Such conditions are very real, and even though they are all changeable with a change of heart, RE foundation number 1, they are changeable that way. Regardless of the reasons for his or her circumstance, every person has a right to experience self-esteem within his conditions. Every person has the right to experience self-worth and self-esteem in any and every circumstance. That's what equality is. Inequality of circumstance is part of reality. But the truth is, we are all equal in relationship to our Creator. Right?
Yes.
Yeah. Andy Warhol, I used a quote from him the other day. He said, we get stuck up with all these problems. He said, I have this. So what? So what? This is my circumstance. So what? It doesn't change my relationship with God, with Creator. It doesn't change that a bit. I am equal to every single one of you and you to everyone else. Everyone. Those you agree with and those you disagree with. Those you think have done horrible things and those you think have done the greatest thing you could ever imagine. Even after this last week in the USA, that's the truth. It will always be the truth. We have a right to feel our worthiness. And we have a responsibility, and you know what that is? To refrain from judgment. To refrain from the judgment of any other circumstance in any other life, including our own. Including the judgment we place upon ourselves. This is a quote from Zen Master Shivayama Zenki that sums it up, I think. The morning glory blooms for an hour, yet it differs not a heart from the giant pine which lives 1,000 years. Right? It doesn't matter. Same heart. Same equality of existence. And if you will feel the worthiness in yourself. Jesus also says this in this book, which I love. He says, the greatest difficulty in knowing God, to knowing your sacred soul, is the feeling of unworthiness. Ouch. That's an ouch. That's not a ding, that's an ouch. That my unworthiness, that feeling of doubt in me, is what causes me to feel separate from the soul of me, the love that is me. So what stops us from recognizing our sacred calling? What is that? Well, I've already touched on it really. It's the feeling of unworthiness. It's that doubt. It's that lack of trust in something we can't see, right? It's hard to be the Moses who comes to the burning bush and says, here I am, Lord. I'm ready. Just tell me what to do. Done that recently? Whatever your burning bush is. That's not an easy decision to make. Usually we're like, I don't know. Seems really hard. Might take a lot of time. Maybe it's not really mine to do. Oh, heck no. That's not going to work for me. You got the wrong person. Remember a few years ago, I guess it's been a few years ago, when I talked about doing the service for the 1-month-old baby who died? And the way that came about was through this person and that person. They came to me. I'm like, what? I'm going to do this? Aren't there a lot of people who would be a lot better and more experienced in this than me? I did feel like Moses. Really, Lord? You're going to have this person tell this person, and this person make a phone call, and then this person's the grandmother, who then I have to... It was me. It was me. And what I learned from that encounter was greater than anything I could have read in a book. That soul that was brave enough to show up as that little boy taught me something that I couldn't have learned anywhere else. Whoa. Yes. So I said yes, yes, yes. Don't doubt it. Trust it. But here's the other thing. Here's the other reason we don't get still enough. We are addicted to the pace of life. We are addicted to the pace of life. We want to go, go, go and make it happen. and do more. And we are addicted to our devices. We're addicted to having the news in the minute. In the minute it happens. I'm jealous of my parents' generation. They had to wait for the newspaper. Somebody had to write a story. They had to put it on the press. They had to deliver it to the house. Or maybe they heard some on the radio, but wow. Now instantly, we want everything. We are addicted to the pace of life when really this is the only way we're going to know what's in the sacred heart of our being is to stop, to slow down, to take a breath. Because we're not going to know what that is, and I think most of us are walking around not knowing what that is, and we're not living according to the sacred heart. We're not able to do that. We're not exercising our free will in deference to the core and the soul of what we are, because we don't take time enough to know what that is. Really. We've got to stop that, and we've got to stop asking ourselves this awful question. This is the most awful question in all of the universe, maybe. Am I really good enough? And everything associated with not good enough. Let's just stop it. Let's just stop that one. Like, I'm done with that. Oh yeah, a little bit of doubt is healthy, but not good enough? No. We are invited by Jesus in this book to do two things. Our responsibility toward our right of free will and toward our right of equality. And that is to make choices that honor our true nature and to refrain from judgment. That's it. That's it. So I invite you to consider that as we go into meditation today. I'm going to invite Ethan back to give us some acoustic music as we spend some time sitting, breathing, considering this message today, considering any part of it that you think is worthwhile considering. Maybe to create a new mantra. How about, I am worthy now? I am worthy now. Breathe in and breathe out and rest in your heart. Maybe not even ask the question or create a new mantra. Maybe it's time to just sit in the stillness. Simply let it be. Maybe that. Let's let it be. For this time together in meditation. There isn't any need for any of us to compare ourselves to any other living being. There is no comparison. Each of us are an amazing, unique, essential expression of the divine. That's the truth. Every person has the right to experience their worth, including you. I think that right there is heaven on earth. So with a grateful heart, an open mind, a belief in possibility, and a joy, ever-present joy, I say, for all of us, amen.
Blackbird singing in the dead all night. Take these broken wings and learn to fly. All your life you were only waiting for this moment to arrive. Blackbird singing in the dead all night. Take these sunken eyes and learn to see. All your life you were only waiting for this moment to be free. And blackbird fly, and blackbird fly into the light of the dark black night. Blackbird singing in the dead all night.
So let's close with this prayer. Yeah, if you know it, please say it. If you don't, feel it, and you'll know it the next time. I feel quite sure. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be happy. May all beings be filled with loving kindness. May all be well. May all be peaceful and at ease. May all be happy. Until next time, yes? Amen.